better setup. Well, maybe that's a better setup. No, can't do it that way. Wait, put my chip up here? No, it's right there. Okay. Anyway, did someone say something? No one said that. All right. Okay. Oh, beyond. Let me start on Discord. Cubean, Hibean. Hibean, Hibean. I think it looks a little better. Okay. All right. Got Discord set up. This is set up. I think we're good. Anyways, hello. Well, yesterday I did the M1 light setup for Hibean. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the Cubean setup for Hibean. I want to get these setup videos out the way because people ask about how to set it up, and it's always kind of like a chore to do. Because you kind of want to go into it and don't want to like miss out on certain things. So for this one, we'll be installing Hibean onto the Cubean. Hibean, Cubean. There's different ways of doing it. You could first of all, you just need a module that will connect with it, and the second part is you'll need a little connector, which you can either make yourself, or you could buy a whole setup from Hibean itself to be able to do this as well. That's always something you can do, but you'll need, if you want to do something more DIY, you got to get something pretty much like this. This little connector cable, just a little standard for connection on the USB-C, and it just transfers data over. And then you need like the special JST connector. It's like 1.5 pH or something like that. So you definitely can make one by yourself. There's also other ways you could go around it, like purchasing the Hibean module, which has everything already installed on it. So in that case, you would just literally buy the unit and then slap it right on, and it should work just fine. But anyways, usually with the Cubean, you'll have this set up like this. You'll have the controller. This is a custom controller. You'll have basically a controller like this, and you would have to kind of unplug it from the back of here. So you pretty much have to just unplug it from here by taking off these 3 screws off the back panel. I think it's 4 screws. You would take off the back panel, you just pull it right off, then you would get access to this area. Basically, you're just disconnecting this. And then you're just setting it up on this connector. You would have set up to something like, I got this another custom connector here. Let me pull it out. And it's the same deal. And it just kind of connects like that. So that would be the connector you could purchase on the Hibean, or you could make one yourself, or I can make you one. You just let me know. They're not really that hard to solder up. It's just like four little wires you just gotta solder up over there. So with this one, you'd plug this into your like ESP32. So let's say if you just want to do it like the standard way, you just get one of these ESP32s. I'm gonna take this off. Yeah, and then you would just plug it right in, put the firmware that you uploaded, and then It'll connect to Hibean. But if you're fancy and you still want a controller on the side, because then you pretty much leave this useless. If you still want it on, you could either pull it off by taking the 2 screws off, or you can print one of these out and then just have this be your controller. So, and you can choose this M5 dial will even work with a Skywalker if you really wanted it to, but we'll go right here. Cubean. You could choose Cubean on the screen. Press it, and then it kind of it always starts off high, and then the numbers will drop down. You just got to give it a minute. Now, honestly, you don't even really need to use it if you don't want to. So you can go ahead and just put that to the back, and then just start connecting it to Hibean. So we'll get the app going. We'll set this up. And this will work for iOS and Android. And if you do the M5 dial, it should connect to Artisan as well, if you really wanted to. Okay, so here's our Hibean. We'll go and connect it to this. Let me see if I have it already up. I technically do have it up, but let me delete this and we can reconnect it. Right. So, like we always do, find that plus sign on the top right. Scroll on down till you find the Skywalker section, and then you could choose Cubean, and then Cubean common for if it was the Hibean module, use the HB. Then you'll look for M5 dial roaster for my case, or some kind of like ESP32 or Nimble. You'll look up on the other firmwares. But for the M5 dial, you just look up the M5 dial roaster and you hit add. Pairing successful. I can control it on my computer, so I'm probably gonna do it this way. So we'll go to complete. You can make sure it runs by going to quick control, doing a quick drum on. That should turn on. You could hit fan, the cooling fan, make sure that works. And then heater. And this one is bright red, so you definitely can tell when it's on. Right, so we'll hit complete, and then let's get this warmed up. So we'll do a first roast on here. So we'll pretend like it's your first time ever roasting on here. If you see this failed to fetch, just hit retry. You know, it's trying to get your weather information. All right, and go to device. You'll probably want to start off with let's just start a manual roast. Let's see if I can replace this log for something blank. Yeah, no, I don't know if I can. All right, well, I guess I'll just leave that on. Usually I like to leave it blank if I can for my first time roasting, but we'll just leave this on for now. We'll go to start manual roasting. And with this one, I'm gonna hit my target temp up a little bit higher. I'll probably set it up to 200 preheat, auto, and then I'll hit start preheating.
Preheat flow. Auto heating to 200.0 degrees Celsius.
And then we're just gonna let it warm up first, all right? So we'll let this warm up. We'll talk a little bit about the Cubean. So this is like another 200-gram roaster. That size, that sample size, again, kind of popular right now, especially when the M1 Lite came out. Let's go grab an M1 Lite. We'll kind of compare the two. Oh. Actually, I'm gonna grab the regular M1 because they're basically the same, except just they're basically the same, but it has this handle and I like to hold it. It's a lot easier to hold. We can compare both. All right, so here are both of them. Both do 200 grams, but both are pretty capable machines. One has a trier and one doesn't, depending on what thought process you are. You either think the trier is great for smelling, seeing the beans, even kind of helping with, some people take some beans out and eat them during the roast. And there's other people that are in the camp that if you take out your trier, you're essentially ruining your roast. How you feel about it, I guess that's up to you, whether you like to pull your trier out or not. I kind of like the fact that there's a trier that I can have, because I do enjoy the sensory process of roasting. I do like that smelling aspect, kind of seeing what happens with each phase. And it comes with this 14 millimeter trier, a little bit smaller than the I think it's a 16. It's about 15.5 millimeter trier, diameter wise. So it's definitely smaller, but if you do pull it out, you'll definitely see that affect your ROR curve. So if you're really into the ROR stuff, that might be an issue. But other than that, a bunch of other things that are different are the way the heat lamps are set up. You have two heat lamps, and you have those things mostly just trying to heat up the air that it draws through here, and it goes in like this little circle pattern, and then the air eventually goes like right into where the beans are at, to where it causes you know, roasting. It's mostly convection in that sense. That's the big thing, is that the unit is sealed and it really is working on the convection heat, and it's using a drum as well to get the beans agitated and moving around. So you got a little bit of conduction there as well, but it's mostly a convection dominant machine. Chaff trays at the bottom. Empty that out. I'll empty out later. So you got the chaff tray on the bottom. Bean chute exit over here. It's magnetized, which I really think is cool. There's a lot of cool, neat features on here. And then they got this little nipple holding system that holds this down pretty well. You gotta you get like one click out of it. Make sure that it's really in there. So yeah, biggest difference with this machine is definitely the quality is overall a little bit better. But the M1 Lite, it skips out on having the controller. You don't get the controller, which people like the Kaleido controller, and some people think it's not that great, but that's another personal preference. This is the M1 Pro or whatever, but then I also have the M1 Lite, and they're almost the same kind of unit, in the sense of like their the design, overall design is basically the same in terms of the drum, the heating setup, and the exhaust. The only big difference, I think, are just the metal pieces. They made it, I think, more cost effective. And one of the bigger ones though is they switched out the drum motor. Instead of getting like this really big planetary drum motor, you get this like smaller one. So, oh, and you also miss out on like some other parts in the back. The regular M1 has has this power module thing in the back where it kind of connects to it, and power entry module is what they're usually called. And this has a fuse in case something bad were to happen. It'll pop that fuse before it pops the machine or pops your circuit. And then you also have like the 3-prong plug, pretty standard. Pro version, M1 Pro version. I think standard version is I think standard is the one with just the controller, and then they have the Pro version, I think it's just Artisan, and then the dual version has both. If you think about it this way, you pay like I think $200 less for those two, and then $200 more when you go to the dual system. That was the whole thing, and that was like 1,400 or some crazy price like that. Anyways, one of the cool features though I really like about the M1s are how easy they are to get to the back panel. You just pull that off and then you're already ready to work on it. So that's one of the pluses of having the M1. And the M1 Lite 2 is basically the same thing. A little bit harder to pull out the back panel, but still really easy to access. Yeah, so this is a bigger motor than the new one. The new one's a little bit thinner, or a little bit smaller diameter. And they still have that same, I think they call this a Venturi system of some kind for the exhaust, where it pushes air in and then it pushes air out that way. Yeah. They also take out the fan or the for the PCB for the heatsink on the V1 Lite. So those are one of the two biggest differences. I think they still use a similar power supply in the back. Also, this one they don't PWM. It's just, I think it's like it's just controlled by voltage for the new brush motor that they use. Where this one's brushless. And it's controlled by PWM through the controller board. In case you wanted to know that. What it really does is just, modulate the RPMs of the drum motor, which people definitely like to utilize for when they roast, when they get like pretty advanced. But same ESP32 setup. They cover it up for some reason, but they cover the shielding up, but it says ESP32 WROOM. Yeah. Those are about, like, I don't know. That's the M1 Pro. So, I just put that in here. Very easy to take apart and put together. The interesting thing they did though is for the M1 Pro is that they this is basically welded onto the drum, the handle, and there's like no wood in between the handle, so if you were to move it after a roast, this thing's super hot. But yeah, so yeah, if you imagine the differences, there's a lot more differences within the Cubean in terms of how it's set up. Let me get a shell of a Cubean out. So here's what the Cubean looks like with the covering off. This is the drum part of it, and then what you want to do is what they do is they use this agitation paddle system, and that just connects to the front over here, or in the back over here. And then it uses the front panel to kind of hold it in. It uses I forget what it's called, the bushing. It uses the bushing to kind of have it rotate around. So, and it just kind of goes like that. And that kind of how it agitates the beam. So instead of having a drum spinning around, it has this. And if you compare the weight of, because it's also using the same V1 motor in the back. So if you compare this weight to the drum of the motor, this one's only like 300 grams, and the drum itself is like 600 or 500, I forget. But it's I think I feel a lot more comfortable with the V1 motor spinning this than I do with the drum in the V1. So yeah, this is kind of similar to how, like, I'm not gonna say this is like how Roast does it. Roast, if you open up theirs, it's the same kind of similar paddle agitation, but they use a lot of convection and a shit ton of RTV. They use a lot of RTV, which is pretty. If you ever watch a disassembly, you can see that, or they use RTV to act as a seal. And instead of having a chaff tray at the bottom, I guess the chaff just goes down somewhere. I want to say it gotta be a exit point, but I think it goes up into here, and it usually gets into, it blows upwards and into here where the chaff, what happens with the chaff usually. And then this is sucks all the chaff when you cool off the beans, so it has this like little fan in here. This little fan, like a basic computer fan. This is what you use to cool the beans off, and it blows all the chaff in here. And then you have this little screen that you pull off, and then you can like either blow it out or use a vacuum to suck it up. It also has like a thermal blanket that surrounds the drum. So when you get that thermal blanket around the drum, it makes it just easier, like to touch. Like if you were to have a V1, my hand would be on fire. Right now it's hot, but it's not to the point where like a V1's hot where you have to like, you jump away from it. The thermal blanket kind of helps with that. It's still hot though. You still don't want to touch it or put a drink on it. But it's not hot enough to like burn you like the V1 would. And here's kind of the back. And the V1 motor connects to here. Let me see if I have it. So here would be the V1 motor I keep talking about. This uses like a little special a coupler that connects from here to there, and they connect together, and that's how it usually couples and spins. And it's, the mount is usually set up like, oops, I gotta solder that up later. And then yeah, usually the motor kind of sits in like that, or actually like this technically. I pulled one of the motor wires out, which is fine. I could just always resolder it back together, no biggie. But it has a better coupling system, I think, than the V1. And then this is their exhaust fan that blows out all the chaff, and that's usually connected right there. It uses like an impeller system. I think I have it somewhere. Ooh, here it is. Here's a coupler. Here's a coupler that connects to the motor and the drum. This is another custom part. I'm gonna try and see, because I get a CNC machine soon, so I'm gonna try and make one of these, hopefully. And then what else? So I gotta resolder that thing. I kind of broke it, but it's okay. Soldering's not hard. I might actually use a connector instead of a solder so I can like keep dismantling it. So that's most of everything in here. It's pretty simple. Oh, and then this is where the lamp goes. Right in here. You would just put it in there. Someone was mentioning that there's concerns of like the lamp here, and it's not like let me grab the lamp. So this lamp is blocked on, that's not blocked on one side, so it kind of heats up both sides. And somebody was complaining that with that much heat on that one area, and it's not like and it's so close to it that it causes like a little bit of a metal rot, or like you're just superheating the same spot of the roaster every single time. The one thing is they might consider maybe putting, like what people use in other IR systems is they'll put a gold reflect, not literal gold, but it's like just a gold reflect to have the infrared rays go in more in one direction instead of going in both, and that might be able to help offset the heat that goes to the metal. But of course, anytime you add those kind of special features, it causes it's a little bit more money. This is also a 700 watt heater. The M1 Lite has a 700 watt heater and then a 300. So that works together to give you 1,000 watts. Okay, so anyways, I think that's all warmed up and ready to go. Let's see if there's any questions. I think most of the reason they don't have like a vendor out in the US is because I don't think they want to get FCC certified for Smolas. As soon as Hibean puts like any kind of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth thing, you kind of have to get it FCC certified before you're allowed to sell it in the United States. Or in Europe, I think too. But yeah, that's why the V2 or the Skywalker aren't really sold. They do a little bit of a workaround. They get them all shipped from the vendor to Florida, and I think all they do is slap on. They're technically using themselves as a forwarder, so they just forward those packages to the people that they pre-ordered. I think there's some kind of weird workaround that way, so you don't have to do FCC certification. But the V1 and the Cubean, this Cubean, not the Cubean Plus, they don't have to be FCC certified because they are there's no Wi-Fi or any kind of Bluetooth. Yeah, for sure. We'd be looking to import. We'd had no luck contacting the actual manufacturer. If you contact Will from Hibean, he works closely with Shmola. He could probably get you in contact with one of their reps. But yeah, it's really hard to find anyone willing to sell. There's like one person I think who was trying to sell Shmola in 2015. It just didn't work out. There is a little bit of concern with buying Shmolas because their marketing's not that great in the US, and they're not really well known other than a cheap roasting company in China. I guess maybe I'll say affordable instead of cheap. All right, anyways, let's go start this roast. So I'm letting it warm up. I haven't really came up with a warm-up routine. But I'll usually warm up at the 200 degrees that I want. I am going to do a thing where I'm going to pretend like I'm seasoning it for the first time, so you kind of see what the roaster does on its own if you were like first time using it and you didn't realize how strong it is. It's a nice little demonstration of how strong it is. I'm also testing how much of a convection versus radiation system it is. And we're just going to do a little simple test where we just leave the heater percentage and the fan percentage on for the same setting and just kind of see how it does with the roast. So I'm gonna do 150 grams on this. For some reason, one of the boxes says it does up to 300 grams. I don't recommend doing that, but at the same time, I would love to find out, so feel free to do it. So 150 grams. The one really bad thing I don't like about the Cubean is just putting the beans in and doing a charge is kind of a pain in the ass because of how small this is. It doesn't hold 50, barely 50 or 100. It definitely doesn't hold 150 or more. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna somewhat charge it up a little bit. I'll put this down. I'm gonna make sure all my settings are good. I'm gonna bump up the fan to 50. I'm gonna do a 50-65 split. And we're just gonna leave it on 65. No, I'll wait. I'll change it to 65 after I pre-charge it. All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop it. I guess I'll drop it now. Let me get my tablet a little bit closer. Okay. It's all right. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna drop this bean in. I'm gonna wait till it goes up to 200, and I'll drop it in. I need to make a funnel for this. All right, so the heater went off. I'm gonna set that to 65. We're just gonna let it run at 65. Oh, and I gotta make sure I turn the heater on. We'll close this up. All right, so right now I'm gonna go ahead. I charged it. We're just gonna kind of see how it goes. Let me go put a microphone on it so we could hear all the sounds. Put it close to where the beans are at.
Turning point detected.
No, the biggest thing I'm looking for right now, for me, for whatever I'm looking for the ROR to see how it works in terms of if it's going to plateau, which is usually a big sign that if it plateaus, more than likely a radiant heat system, just how the heat transfer works. But if it does have like a decline, like a natural decline, like I saw in the M1 Lite video, then I'm just curious to see how much more of this is more of a convection system than it is a radiant heat system. Because all those parts are still there. There's still convection, there's still a radiant heat, and then there's still conduction because of the metal sides of the wall of the chamber still kind of heat up the beans as well. A little decline, so it's not doing too bad. Ugh. Oh, you know what? I missed out. I forgot to hit DE because we hit the yellowing phase. So if we look at the beans through the window, it's actually a lot bigger than the Kaleido M1 Lite, so you can kind of see the beans a little bit better. But I still prefer pulling it out by the trier and looking at the beans. But in any case, I could pretty much tell when it goes from like a lightly green to a yellow with the window. And if anything, I just usually mark 160 as my cutoff for dry end. But now we're kind of in the Maillard phase. If you look at the ROR curve, you'll notice that it does have a natural decline to it. So I think that kind of indicates that this roaster is more of convection, maybe a little bit more radiant heat, but it is definitely, I think, a portion more of convection. It's also really insane, like this is 65% of a 700 watt bulb, and I'm only like 4 minutes in the row, so I'm about to hit first crack soon. Yeah, I'm really finding it interesting right now that it's that there's a you know this natural decline to the road. I haven't changed any of the heat. I haven't changed any of the airflow settings. This is all just the same. Although first crack should be coming up pretty soon. You can sometimes tell when first crack comes up because there'll be an increase in the ROR. It kind of jumps up a little bit. Of course, it's audible, so you should be able to hear it. There it is. There's part of it. 1, 2. Ooh, they're really loud on this one. I didn't get the chorus. I usually wait till it's like pop, pop, pop. There it is. All right. Okay, so kind of rolled into this. We're just going to keep it the same, and now we're going to see what it sounds like when it gets into second crack. I'm waiting for the Rice Krispies to come. That's what usually it sounds like. Oh, let me get back to there you go. There it is. There's second crack. It's getting a little bit hot, so I'm gonna drop it. There should be a lot of smoke on this.
Automation triggered. Set fan speed to 100%.
I still need to get my head set up for my airwave. That was chocolatey. I think I burnt a lot of chaff in the M1 Light last time I did a dark roast with the same bean. This is my fault. I should have set that up a little bit better for the roast, but it's okay. Let's see what the question is. We should talk of wine. Talk online. We've got some really cool Rwanda carbonics. Actually, 3 processes. Oh, where's that? What's your website? I can't see. The icons are so small on my on my on my OBS. I don't want to hide these. I'll look it up later. I'll make sure I look that up. Oh, here. All right. So, yeah, I'll let this look in some more. Oh wow! All right, cool. They're cold. Perfect. Let me take this off. It was not even hot enough to burn this, so that's pretty cool. My dark roast on that one went a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But let's check out. Let me get the weight on this. You have a little bit of a where is oh I'll just use this. Here's another thing I like about the M1 Lite. I kind of like I like this a little bit better to hold. I do appreciate this where I can move that around like that. Kind of cool beans off. But I feel like this little cup thing is pretty nice. Oh, motherfucker. I need to print out the little funnel for that. So those are beans. I dropped like 4 beans on the ground, so that should be like, I don't know, let's call that a gram or something. So I'm at 124. I know that's not how it should be, but it's like about a gram more or something. But I'm gonna do 125. Just the button. I need a bigger weight scale. So I'm just gonna do 125. So 16% weight loss. Hey, beans. So fine, 125.5. So about a 16% weight loss. 16.3%. Let's see. Oh, then let me get it on the my little Eggtron. Ugh. Trying to find a plug for it. I use this one. 20. So I plugged it in on top. I'm gonna go grind a few. I'm gonna grind a few of them and do surface value as well. I know that's not what I should do, but sorry. We're good. 15 more seconds for this to warm up. Wonderful. Let me look it up now. Roast meter. I don't have a fancy one. I just have this this roast meter DIY one. This one. This is the one I got. This one. Yep. That's the one I printed out. But they have a Bluetooth website you could use. I think it's BLE. B L. Yeah, what it was called. Well, anyways, I'm just gonna put the beans on it and see what it comes out to. $42. All right. So I'll manually input that. You want to manually input it, you go to roast level, manual input, or color meter. Surface, you can do ground. Although, oops. You do ground, you have to go to manual input. And I said 42. Moderately dark. Perfect. I like that. Not that I roast dark, but. And then you could do, if you want to share your values with somebody, it's usually better to do the surface color of the bean, because if you do it by a different grinder, you usually get different values between two different grinders. So you'd literally have to be like, I have this grinder, we have the same grinder, we have to put it on this setting, or make sure like the grind settings are about the same in terms of like how many, I don't know, whatever numbers it could be set at. You could try putting it in the same proximity. Anyways, let that run. So I'm gonna hit confirm. So remember I said I messed up. I should have marked my giant a little bit earlier. You can always fix that over here. And then go look for giant. And then you can just either move it back or press it until you get to like, I'll say I hit it at 160. Oops. Move that out the way. Tap, tap. And say it was there at like 159. You could switch it there, or you could move it as well if you really want to. We'll pretend like it was right there. Then you can hit save. And there you go. That's basically how you would use the Cubean for a roast. You can compare your different roasts with each other. I haven't done that yet. I want to compare my last two roasts. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, you can compare the two. Nice little fun stuff you can do. I might switch this one out. No, and I'll do I think I did an M1 light last time, so I'll do sniper M1 light. Come on. Sorry. I'm trying to play with the compare feature. Let's see if it works. Oh. I actually need to leave to go to work soon, so oh, I guess I can't compare it to directly with other kind of rows. Oh, there it is. Did that row, so I'm going to do my last one. Let's do. Oh boy. Compare this one. Oh, we can only compare it with the same roaster. Oh well, that's okay. Anyways, I'm surprised. I thought I'll look at it later. Anyways, that's how you want to look at the roast and kind of see and check it out. You can also share your last roast, which I highly recommend doing. So you can hit share. Cubean dark. Hit share. I spelled dark wrong. Oh well. Published successfully. Then you could use the little planet symbol over here to kind of compare. So here's what it looked like when I tried to go dark on the sniper M1 light. That's a 8-minute 10-second duration. 860. Ah, pretty similar. Interesting. I thought the M1 light would roast a lot faster just because it has the 1000 watts compared to the 700 watt bulb, but things are different sometimes. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns. I didn't even look at Discord. I know it's in there. Anyways, okay. All right. Anyways, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, we'll see you later.